All right, the first dipping dumpling we're gonna do is smoked tofu dumplings. It's a crazy combination of spinach and sweetness of dates paired with the sharp black vinaigrette. I like to add a little bit of tofu that's been smoked to these dumplings just to give a little bit of protein and also earthiness to these. All right, the first ingredient we're gonna prep is we're gonna steam up some spinach. So I have my bamboo steamer going here, okay, which is nice and hot. I'm gonna go ahead and add a good amount of baby spinach to that steamer. This will only take a couple minutes. This is the easiest way to steam. Since I have this on anyways for other dumplings. All right, that should take only about 2 minutes. All right, so it's been about 2 minutes. Let's remove that spinach. That is perfect. We're gonna set that aside and let it cool down a little bit. So while that's cooling down, let's go ahead and grab the food processor and start on the next steps. All right, so what I'm gonna add here is I'm gonna add some water chestnuts, okay? I'm gonna also add, I have some smoked tofu. You can get braised tofu as well, or baked tofu, works really well. I'm just gonna get this ready to pulse in there as well. And we're also going to add a little bit of chili. Let's add half as good. Let's pulse up those water chestnuts first. All right, let's add in the tofu and chili. All right, that looks great. So you want to get a nice fine mince on that tofu, on that chili, on those water chestnuts to add a nice crunch. All right, so we're gonna remove this, add it to a bowl, and add the rest of the ingredients. Get this ready for the next steps. All right, let's add some of that spinach. That spinach is cooled down. I rinsed it a little bit. Press out as much water as you possibly can. I'm gonna go ahead and chop that up. So, next ingredient. We're gonna use some dates. So I have some medjool dates here. Any dates will work. With medjools, you wanna make sure that you pit them, obviously. Gonna get a few of these. We're gonna mince these up. This is gonna add a really nice sweetness to these dumplings, and it pairs so nice with this black vinaigrette. Black vinegar, which we're gonna use in the dipping sauce, is a lot sharper than a typical vinegar that you would try. A little bit more sharp than it is sweet, so works really well with a dipping sauce for these sweet dumplings. All right, so let's go ahead and mince up those dates. All right, so we have the dates in there, we have the spinach, we have the tofu mix. Let's go ahead and season it up with some salt, and let's finish it with a little bit of sesame oil also. All right. One last little shot that we're gonna add is a little bit of sherry vinegar. That's gonna nicely balance out that sweetness of the dates. All right, just like with most dumplings, we're gonna use a little bit of cornstarch. What cornstarch is gonna do, it's gonna help with the binding. All right, this is where I get my hands in there just to really mix up that date, make sure it's evenly distributed. And if your spinach was a little too wet when it went in, you can add a little bit more cornstarch, helps bind it. All right, the last ingredient we forgot was a little bit of ginger. I use a microplane zester for ginger when I don't want those larger pieces, and it works absolutely perfect. All right, this looks like it's ready to go. So we're gonna actually pan fry these. So let's get some dumpling skins ready to go. So instead of using the homemade dumpling skins that I made, I'm gonna use these store-bought ones. These are defrosted. They work well, but really nothing beats a homemade dumpling skin. All right, so what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna grab a little bit in the center, okay? But I'm gonna go all the way around. Okay, and I'm gonna go right to the top, all right? Then I'm gonna go right to the top of this one and right to the top of this one, making a little X. These are a nice way to serve these dumplings, kind of a simpler fold as well. Okay. All right, now that we've formed all these dumplings, let's make a little bit of black vinaigrette, which is gonna pair perfectly with these dumplings. A little bit of green onion in there. Let's just use a little bit of the green part. Very, very thin since this is going in a dipping sauce. You can also use chives as well. I'm gonna go ahead and mix this vinaigrette in the jar. I'm gonna go ahead and add those green onions. when it comes to balancing flavor, okay, I like to work with a flavor balance of salt, acid, and sweet. Okay, that makes one of the best sauces. So we're gonna use a black vinegar. Okay, black vinegar is a little bit sharper, as I mentioned. I'm gonna use some tamari. Okay, and then I'm gonna use some maple syrup. You can go almost equal parts of all. And that is it. Super simple. So I like to put this in a jar because I usually have leftover, which is excellent on like just some white rice or some noodles. I'm just gonna shake that up and that's ready to go. So we're gonna pan fry these dumplings. First, you're gonna start with a saute pan. We're gonna heat that up. We're just gonna add oil to that pan. Gonna bring that up to heat. And the nice thing about these dumplings, as I mentioned, is the surface area here. Okay, so you're gonna get some nice crispness on the bottom. Let's go ahead and add those to the pan. All right, we're gonna let those pan sear for a moment. That's the coloration that you want on the bottom there, nice and crisp. All right, the last thing you're gonna do is you're gonna lower it down to a medium, and you're gonna take a little bit of water, okay? And this is the key. This is what finishes off the pan-fried dumplings, okay? You wanna make sure that they're not getting too burnt. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of water and then cover them. Okay, then you can mix them up. Then you turn off the heat, and these are ready to go. Very hot. See that? That's what you want. A little crispness at the bottom. The skins are cooked all the way through. Okay. You can tell when they're cooked when you're using these store-bought dumplings because the skins are so thin, you can see the filling on the inside. That's when you know that the actual skins are fully cooked. Let's finish the plate with a little bit of green onion. Just sprinkled on. And those are good to go. Here we have the smoked tofu and spinach dumplings with the black vinaigrette.